Grand Rising Soul Travelers, it's Medusa here, and even though it is still summertime, we are going to make a great cup of cacao. And these are all the ingredients we'll be using. We've got some nutmeg, we have some star anise, we'll just be using the seeds that you can see at the bottom. We've got clove, we've got fresh cardamom pods, and then we've got some fresh rose petals that are from the rose bush just outside. We also have some rose water. We use that with just a few drops. A little goes a long way, and then just a little bit of salt for a little bit more texture. And then we have our cacao. This has been my favorite artisanal cacao that I've found so far on the market. It is made in Guatemala, it's handcrafted, ethically sourced, all the great things, and you can see that I've been using it for a while. And this is what it looks like up close. Just a nice huge hunk of raw cacao that has been pressed together for a brick. Now, there's different ways that people like to source their cacao. For myself personally, I do like either from straight the cacao pod, if you can get that, or just a huge block of it. I like for it to be as unprocessed as possible. So when you start getting into things that are like the disc and the chips and all that kind of stuff, those are still great to use for if you're doing personal rituals or circles or ceremonies. But for myself, I prefer the block. I'm gonna start in one of our sections that we've already kind of broken down into. I kind of go around the whole entire block, and what I do is I just kind of get it to where it's really shaved down. And when it comes to the portion of the ingredients and the herbs and the spices, everything that I do is intuitive based. So even how much cacao I chop for myself, it just varies from day to day depending on what I'm feeling or what I'm needing for myself. But you'll see that I kind of just go around the whole entire thing until I'm satisfied. This is what it looks like once it is all chopped up. So again, just because I was kind of shaving it off of the block, you can see just how fine it is. There's a couple of slivers of chocolate, but mostly it's just a dust or a powder. And one of the reasons that I do it like this is because, especially if I'm doing it for just one person, like myself, instead of putting it into a saucepan or a pot, I'm actually just going to make the whole entire thing in my cacao cup. Look how beautiful this cup is for a second. I got it at this park one day. They have this thing called Tasty Tuesdays where a bunch of food trucks come and a bunch of families come and they just kind of hang out in the park and have fun. And there was this guy selling these 2 cups or a few cups, but I got a pair. And it was cracked. It was, how it looks right now. And I just loved it. I loved the authenticity of the cup, and look how beautiful. It's all gold and pretty and mesmerizing. So this is our cacao cup. This is actually the only thing that I use for myself, or if I'm in circle with another person, are the 2 cups that I have for cacao. Again, and also with this knife, I also only use this knife specifically when I'm doing cacao. Because we're making it in this cup, what we're going to use is our kettle back here to boil or steam the water. For cacao, you really don't want to boil it. You just want it to get hot enough for the cacao to melt into your pot or into your cup. And that's another reason why, again, I make it so fine. It makes it easier for the cacao to just melt very easily. So So while we're keeping our ear and eye out for the water, we're going to put all the ingredients into the cup. So we've got our cacao. And again, I just feel it with the measurement. So if you're looking at this and this looks like a lot of cacao, do less. If you think that's not enough, then again, I know what portion my body feels great having. So now we have some of our nutmeg. Let's do a couple sprinkles of that. And that's one of the beautiful things that I do enjoy about cacao. Cardamom pod. They're very, very potent and spicy in the essence of warming spice. But with everyone's cacao, it's always made differently. The person who makes it themselves will make it differently every single time. And then each practitioner or ritualist or any name that you want to call people, they will also make it differently each time as well. So there is no, in my perception, one true way to make cacao. Just with any kind of traditional dish, it's just kind of open up for interpretation, like arts. Cacao is art, and it's just a really great way to connect with a lot of maybe different herbs that a lot of people aren't used to having in their regular diet, like star anise, clove, cardamom. Those are definitely things that we can enjoy in the winter time. But if you want to have a nice cup of cacao, especially if it's a addition or if it's replacing your coffee, which this can do, it does have a really great natural energy. It's just great to have it, and can't really see too much of what's in the bowl right now. But yeah, there's so many different ways to make your own cup of cacao. And I'm starting to hear a little sizzling in the kettle, which means that it's almost ready to pour over. This rose water, I've had it for a few years now. And what I do is I just pour it into the cap. I do that with a lot of my oils and different things that I can do that with. But just a couple drops into the cap, and then you'll just see a couple drops into the bowl, because rose water is very potent. It's also very easy to make at home. And then just topping it off with just literally the smallest amount of salt. And then the last thing we'll do is, after everything is blended, is top with some of our organic rose petals. We've got our ingredients, we've got our boiling or steaming water, and we're just gonna slowly add the water to the mix. And again, just like how everyone makes their cacao differently with their ingredients, everyone likes their cacao differently with the temperature as well as the consistency. So some people like it really thick, almost like a syrup, or like a chocolate syrup, just something really thick. And then some people like it more on the lighter side, almost as if you were making like a tea or a coffee or a hot chocolate. And this also helps not only bring all the ingredients together, all the herbs, all the spices, but it helps thicken it up as well. And I think I'm going to add just a little bit more water. And another thing too is that some people make their cacao with water, some people add milk to their cacao or make it with milk. Some people like to add some kind of sweetener, whether that's a honey or maple syrup or agave. For myself, I kind of make it the way that I used to prefer my coffee, which is just straight. Just the ingredients and just the beautiful cacao. This is our cup of cacao. It's been topped with a couple of white and pink rose petals, so it's not as deep or dark as the red petals, so that's why they're a little bit lighter. But this is our cacao cup. You can see the little cardamom pop floating in there. It's starting to soak in. Nice and smooth with its color. And time to enjoy.